Affairs of the Heart is something that I'm very passionate about. I've always had that name since last year, but I didn't do anything about it. I'm one person that is very emotional, and have realized that in Christian homes, to be specific, a lot of marriages are suffering. People don't want to talk about this thing, sex, and it's affecting a lot of homes. And I've had a situation where we do meetings and we talk about it, and these women are saying, why can't we have event where more people will come? I was in one last month and I was feeling so guilty, so I said to myself, okay, February is coming, I'm going to do this thing. You know, you go to churches, you go for women meeting, everybody is talking about heaven. This is good, but women are suffering, the men are suffering. And I've realized that most Christian couples were not virgins when they got married. They must have had one affair or the other, and they were wild about the whole thing. Then they get married and everybody is restricted. The Bible says marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled. So why can't we talk about this thing, sex?
Affairs of the Heart 2013. We just want to say thank you and you're welcome for coming.
This organization is about confidence. And if you're going through emotional pain, emotional torture in your homes, definitely your confidence will be gone. It will be gone because you just find out that nothing is working. So for us to be able to deal with our marriages well and effectively, that is why we're here today.
I think relationships are really tough, whether it's a friendship or a mother and father sibling friendship. But one of the things that I've learned is that having a third person in your relationship, like a buddy or like a counsellor, or even maybe someone in your church who you can bounce off with and share your ideals.
Story of not knowing how to speak my mind and not knowing how to say what I want. And I know I'm not alone in that. Many women find it hard to speak their truth. And if you're one of those women, you know that you're listening to this very good advice and you know you want to be able to do it, but you don't know how. It might be that speaking to somebody outside the marriage could help you find your voice, practicing with somebody else, talking about what you are unhappy about, what you feel you want to be able to say to your husband. Just learning to hear the words coming out of your mouth with another audience might give you the confidence to be able to come home and say it to your husband.
We did a course, like a marriage course, a few years ago within our church. One of the things that really kind of was good for us was what they suggested is having a marriage time, not where you particularly speak about, I want to talk to you about this problem, but just spend time together, get to know each other and away from all the other stuff. And it wasn't for people having problems.
Because sometimes I agree with you, you look at the problem and then it just makes it so big and it's not that big a deal. Do you know what I mean? It's just from the friendship, what you talked about, from communication. How do you communicate? How one person may want to communicate, it's going to be different to how another person wants to communicate. So say communicate, but what does that mean to you and me?
I have been following what you do, and God bless you. I am a man, and I have so many girls in my life. I have dated my wife before we got married. But since we had our children, she has become too rigid. She doesn't make up. I don't even like what she wears. And I have told her and even bought clothes for her. But she prefers to listen and copy her pastor, who is old-fashioned.
Of challenge, which I think we've spoken to. I mean, looking over at you, Carol, this point about her being able to find her self-expression, and it sounds like that isn't what's happening. She's found a new kind of person to tell her what to do, and it's her pastor, and her husband is finding that difficult, so he's trying to tell her what to do, whereas essentially she needs to kind of find her own self-expression. And so if she's here, I really call out to her, to trust yourself and let yourself be yourself. But meanwhile, I feel for this man, he's really missing the woman he fell in love with. She's got lost somewhere in motherhood and the burdens of motherhood.
The problem we have as Christians these days is that we don't even read the Bible ourselves. We just go to church, the pastor has said, and we go home. And most time, because we are so, we are carried away with positions in church, so you want to please your pastor. Your first assignment is your home. Do your best, leave the rest for God. Even if the man leaves tomorrow, you will know that you have tried. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Your pastor's wife or your pastor's husband, the pastor himself, is old-fashioned. The wife may just like him the way he is. Or the man may like the wife as an old-fashioned pastor's wife. But you are not the pastor's wife.
It still boils down to communication again. That's the most important. They need to sit themselves down and talk about this. I'm also looking at the angle of what is their definition of what she's wearing. I'm not saying you should dress like a whore outside, but you could dress to look presentable. But at home, if he wants you to dress like a whore at home, sure, why not? In my house, for instance, my wife and I, in my bedroom, it's a taboo for you to put on anything. You don't wear anything in the bedroom. It's a taboo. It's not a hard and fast rule, but that's us at home. If he wants you to dress skimpy at home, fine. It's your home. Whatever spices up your marriage, whatever spices up your home, why not?
I want to say to the woman that the man still loves you, so please submit everything to him.
He used to tell me, I love long hair, and I wanted to cut my hair short. So at the time he was telling me, I love women with long hair. I said, but I wanted to cut my hair low. He said, no, I love long hair. Probably, when he's on the bed, he like, just to play with the hair.
This woman should count herself lucky, even for her husband to say it out that this is what I want. This is the way I want you to look. Unlike before, I will take myself as an example. I used to wear, long skirts. And the skirt would just be, going about in the house everywhere. without, I just dressed anyhow without knowing that even my husband doesn't like it. But he didn't come out and tell me that, I don't like this. But his behavior just changed in the house. And he would be behaving somehow. I was like, what is going on? Without knowing, no makeup, nothing. Even if I'm going out, I just go out anyhow. I don't care. I don't care at all. But all of a sudden, he was just saying, we're just talking about someone. And he just said, look at that one. In that big skirt. He would just be going about, And I said, but this is what I used to wear, but you don't tell me this. He said, I won't tell you because I don't know how you will take it. You might not like it. So, for what he said, I said, extreme makeover. And I changed. So, so all the long skirts, all, any clothes that is not, because I believe that, I'm fat, I'm big, and I think, but I look myself inside the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I am beautiful, and I have to go for it. So just have that self-confidence. It is very, very important.
You're listening to your pastor and not taking any notice of what your husband thinks or what your husband wants. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit to your own husband as to the Lord. Why are you listening to your husband? Because you think he's a man of God. Or to the pastor, because you think he's a man of God, isn't it? And then you are disregarding your husband. But the Bible says, submit to your husband as of the Lord, as you are submitting to God.
The fourth question says, my husband always jumps on me, never bothered about if I'm enjoying it. I am too shy to bring up the topic. What do I do?
if she's saying the husband just jumps on her and all that, on her own part, does she know what to do to arouse him while they're there? You know, she needs to work on herself. Look for books to read. Look for ways to educate yourself, you know, in the bedroom. What you want, get him to do it.
Especially in this environment where you find people creating time for other leisure. Everybody is busy. But if there is humor in your marriage, you see that a hitherto difficult situation just melts at the point of humor. For instance, in my marriage, my husband is a man of very, very few words. If I have to take him up on that, romantically, I would say 0. But I know the way he humorously tells me he loves me. He will not even say it expressly, but in a way, we might be watching a movie, and there was a day I said, oh, you don't do that. Then we were watching a movie, and somebody was singing for the woman. I said, you don't sing for me, you sing. He said, you are beautiful. And I said,
Wait, take up your spouse as a project. Go on internet. My husband said I'm internet savvy because internet is there for us. You can just Google anything. Google how to spice up my marriage. Believe me, it will be there.
The couple of things that I've noticed while I've been both working and personally being single is that couples need a third person, some kind of buddy system, another couple, or even spiritual counselling. And the other thing that I think that couples seriously need is some honesty and some really clear communication.
A very, very nice program for us because we really learned a lot from today's, a lot of opening questions we are throwing out, and people were asking questions, and there was feedback as well.
It's a place where you rub minds with other women and men who have been successful in their marriages, and you learn new things about yours, even if you are not. You don't really have to go through issues in marriage.
We learned a lot, you know, how to be a good, wonderfully made woman, how to, you know, prove ourselves, you know, to our, maybe to our spouses.
My name is Abby, and I represent Mercy Ministry from the World Harvest Christian Center. Mercy Ministry is a ministry in World Harvest Church, like I said, and as the name implies, it's actually about giving to the needy, showing compassion, showing mercy, you know. So what we do, we reach out to the church, the needs of the church, even though we're a small group, but we just try to contribute money together, and whenever there's a need, whatever the need is, financial, emotional, we just try to meet it as much as we can. And what we're doing now, we're also reaching out to our local community, you know, getting their names, doing coffee mornings, and all sorts of things. By God's grace, we're hoping that we'll be able to go nationwide.
That Christians can actually open up about intimate issues, about sexual issues, about issues that you know, maybe, you know, a lot of us kind of think about or feel, but I don't really think that it's the right thing for Christians to necessarily, you know, speak openly about. And it's been a lovely surprise, and it's been very pleasant to sort of discover that, you know, we are real people. We know we're real, but to discover that other Christians are real as well. And I think that's been a really, really lovely thing about today.
A lot of men can be very dominant in marriage, and the wives submit to that. But I think it's very important that we remember the passage that says that although the man is to be the main figure in the marriage, and that he should, and the wife should submit to the man, that the man should also love the wife as Christ loves the church. And I think that's one thing we've learned today, is it's very important in marriage.
So Valentine will not just be a time you go out with your spouse or your loved one. It will be a time where you actually sit down and talk about things that, you know, that is affecting your home, things that is affecting your marriage, you know, effective communication, sex and marriage, things that will spice up your relationship for good.